Good evening. Welcome to Game Club. As people will see, we have got two very special guests joining us this evening because we are going to be talking about Resident Evil 9 Requiem because it's so good. We had to have more of us on here to be talking about it. It's the only way it could happen. So let's quickly run round. We have got Blunners with us.
Hello everyone, I've done my usual. I've gifted a membership and it has gone to you, Tetley T 1837. Have a brew on me.
Tetley T. Beautiful. We have got Triangle Face Tim, who has now finished the game.
I have. That's why we were waiting, because you guys have finished it and I was lagging behind. So I had to crack on with it, didn't I?
Honestly, slacking. But here we are. We've made it work. We have got Dave Newland music. Good evening, David.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
Very well. Very well.
Excellent. Excellent. Ready to talk all things spooky. And we have, of course, got the mighty MAGG joining us this evening. MAGG, wonderful to have you back. How are you, my friend?
Great to see you, lads. How you doing?
Very well. Very, very well. We had a nice little catch up at OLL, and we've managed to make this evening work. So
we have.
It's, wasn't it debug, not OLL?
Debug, correct. Yeah. It was debug.
They're both over that way. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep, it's all Norwich based. It's fine.
No one's going to get sued for getting the names wrong of events at all.
On
his face is like,
we'll just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
Anyway,
it was lovely to see you at the event, even though I was running around like a blue ass fly. So,
but it was good. It was very good.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who is joining that hasn't joined us before on Game Club is exactly the same as a book club. It's just with a game. So we play a game, we get to chat about it, we invite people to come and join us to talk about it. We want to hear you guys talking about it in the chat as well. We are going to throw out there will be spoilers, I would imagine. There's lots of things we're going to need to talk about. It's going to be very difficult to talk about the nitty-gritty without ruining the game. So you have your warning there, right there. We are going to talk about things that happen in the game, including probably the end. So
yes. Also, we need to do the poll for the next Game Club. So if I do show poll, does that shows it on the screen? Is that in?
It does.
In the YouTube, so.
Oh yeah.
In 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Fancy.
People have to type it in, right?
Just type in 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have got Tomb Raider. We have got the new recently released mixtape.
Ooh.
And we have the incredible indie game Mythwrecked. And then we've gone for Final Fantasy V. We were debating which one to go for, and we've gone with 5. So if you would like the next Game Club game to be any of those games, put the appropriate number in the comments.
Which Tomb Raider, just out of interest, guys?
The one that's spelled tomb.
I told you that I dyslexic the poll. Before I hit it, I was like, did I dyslexic the poll? No, we're going with this one. It's a bootleg. It's a bootleg Tomb Raider.
Bootleg version. You can't edit it though. Yeah,
it's the dyslexic Tomb Raider.
Oh, that's the one with Larry Croft. Yeah,
Larry Croft's Tomb Raider. Well, dyslexia strikes again. But yes, we can go with. I don't know. The remaster has just come out on PlayStation Essentials, and it's also on the Evercade as well. The re-release.
Yeah.
So anyway. Oh yes, Temu Raider. That's
thank you, Molly.
Yeah, Temu Raider. So if you've got any means to play Tomb Raider, probably the first one, but if you finish it, you go to the next one. Mixtape, I think, has just come on Game Pass as well.
Yes, it has. Yeah,
and I got 10 out of 10.
10, yeah.
Mm.
And I believe Mythwrecked is still on Game Pass as well.
Yeah,
playing on from platforms. And Ollie, you've got some physical copies as well.
I have. We've been sent the physical copies for the PS5. So please do go and buy the physical Mythwrecked copy now. It's out. You need to buy it. So even if we don't do it, you need to buy it. We're going to talk about it at some point for sure.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Taylor, if you put just one, not one, please, because I think it has to be just one. As much as I appreciate being polite, saying please, just put one and then enter, because it's not gone on.
Beautiful. And then Final Fantasy V, which is from the recent collection as well. So
I think each Final Fantasy game one at a time on Game Pass, and it's gone up to 5 so far.
Super.
So there you go. But
Excellent.
If I hide it now, does that poll not go away? It just doesn't show for a bit. Is that right?
I
So
don't know, mate.
Okay, shall I just leave it there for now?
We'll leave it there for the
Let's
minute.
leave it there.
Yeah, it's in the corner. It's
Leave it
hiding.
there. It's in the corner. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Right. Let us dive into Resident Evil Requiem, because this is absolutely phenomenal. This game really took me by surprise. So just as we sort of go around and sort of just gather your first initial thoughts, Blunners, what were your first thoughts once you were playing this game? Because I think it's been hyped quite a lot by Capcom, but did it deliver? So first thoughts on RE9.
Just first thoughts. I stayed away from absolutely everything to do with this game. All I heard that it was. I then started hearing rumors as it was already out that it was a banger, and it was really, and it. So yeah. So luckily, I know Tim got it first. I was waiting to payday to get it, and it did not disappoint. I won't go too into depth because we'll go into depth later. But yeah, the intro just straight from the off, I just loved it. I thought, wow, they have nailed this from the start. So yeah, intro, that first part where you're just walking down, and then obviously everything goes to shit, and then you quickly change between both characters as well, which is very good. But yeah, that first little intro just into the game is spot on, and I personally think they've done it right by just delaying it to that first quarter in this year, just because there was nothing else out.
Mhm.
So there was ideal time to play it because there was no competition. So yeah, really done it well.
Agreed. Tim, what were your first initial thoughts to
Well,
RE9?
I don't typically buy new games at launch because of how much they are when they first come out, and then it's not long before you get a deal, or I've also paid for Game Pass, I've got PS Essentials, and I've got a huge back catalogue of games I've not played. So it's not like me to buy a game at launch unless it's something I really want. And yeah, I'm really into Resident Evil. I think I waited to play 8 until it came out in VR, and then I needed to get a PS VR2 headset because I was like, I need to experience this in VR. So it hadn't that long finished 8, so it wasn't as big a wait for me because I didn't play 8 straight away. And yeah, it doesn't disappoint. I was really pleased with it. We'll go through all the different mechanics and stuff as we go throughout the show, but yeah, I was really pleased. I did sort of wince a bit when I paid the £65 price point on a game. I was like, oh, that's a bit much for me than what I normally pay for a game, because I'm normally buying games off Steam for like a £5. So it's a big purchase, but yeah, definitely worth it, I think.
Agreed.
Definitely worth it.
Dave, what were your initial thoughts and feelings whilst starting RE9?
First thing that stands out is the huge graphical leap. I mean, come on, even on the base PS5, it just looks absolutely incredible. And I know in the past I've talked about this before, but it's the first game to showcase the new PSSR technology on the PS5 Pro. And it looks even better on that. But to say it looks bad on the PS5 would be a bull-faced lie. It's just phenomenally polished. The acting is absolutely incredible. And the one thing I loved about it is, if you look at, not to any spoilers as such, but when you look at the bonus content, you can actually see the mocap actors in one screen versus the actual game performance. So yeah, absolutely brilliant game. Loved everything about it, and didn't disappoint for sure. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. What are they going to do for the big number 10? But to be confirmed.
Exactly. MAGG, RE9, was it a banger?
Yeah. Simple. Simple as. I've been very hyped. I've got a sort of a bit of a love-hate relationship with some of the Resident Evil games. But I'd say more so, unpopular opinion, they've come into more of their own, especially from 7 Biohazard onwards, and I've enjoyed them more from that. And then obviously they did the remakes, and I've enjoyed the remakes as well. But this kind of, I like the way that this basically covered all bases, because you got a great follow-up to Resident Evil 4 remake with stuff with Leon, but then you, in a way, you got a great carry-on, even though it was a new story, a great carry-on from 7 and 8, because all the first-person stuff. And I played it in the way it was intended to be, with Leon in the third person, Grace in the first. I just thought it was so well done. And again, with what David said, a few of those opening bits, I was just like, damn. Now, bearing in mind, I got my copy sent to me on Xbox. So I was playing it on an Xbox. So it probably didn't look as good PS5 Pro, but I was like, damn, especially the bits at the start where the cars are crashing and it's all going, I'm like, this looks phenomenally good. And it stayed like that pretty much all the way. I loved every minute of it. That's what I'll say for now.
Yep. I would have to agree with everything everybody has said. It feels like, for me, this was one of the first next-gen games, considering this next generation of systems has been out for nearly 6 years. This is the one that felt like a truly next-generation game. It looked great. It sounded great. It played great. I played it the same way you did, Mag. I did Leon third person, Grace first person. And I didn't at any point hate switching to the next character. The whole thing was very well paced and timed. It felt like just as you were like thinking, oh, I've just had enough of kicking things in the face, all of a sudden you're back to Grace, no ammo, crap in your pants. And then just when you're like, yeah, I need a breather now, you're back to spin kicking zombies in the head again. So it was they did a really good job of having two stories playing simultaneously. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I might make a bold statement at the end of the stream, I think.
Okay.
We'll see how frisky I'm feeling. But let's move on to the story and the world building within RE9. So this one doesn't really follow much on from 7 and 8. 7 and 8 are almost like their own little contained story within the wider universe, with interactions from other RE characters, and that is perfect. I'm happy for that to be that.
I was a little bit disappointed at that because I really liked the Ethan character. And then obviously, spoiler warning, his fate at the end, and then it's all about his daughter. And I thought from seeing the trailer that who ended up being Grace is going to be set years later, and that was the baby that you saved in 8. And that's what I thought they were doing. It's like, because obviously there's this whole thing about, does the baby have powers and stuff? It's a special baby, and it's like, no, it's just it's a completely different person. I was like,
I'm with you on that, Tim, because I did, when we got the first couple of trailers a year ago, I was thinking, oh, okay, so is it Rose that's going to be, Rose has now become an FBI agent, and then as soon as they went, oh no, this is Grace, I was like, okay, so it's not a follow-on. But there were little hints. Again, there was a mention of Mr. Chris right near the end. Whether that's going to lean into the DLC, we don't know, but we'll see, because obviously Chris was in 7 and 8. But
Blanners, what were your thoughts, given that it wasn't a direct continue from 7 and 8? It was more of a continuation on from 6, really.
I preferred that, to be honest. I liked the fact that it was something different. 7 and 8 I enjoyed, but I'm more of an old school Resident Evil guy. So for me, I like the fact that they went a completely different direction, completely changed it up, and there was so much stuff like I didn't see coming. I'd heard, so the world, I was saying, when it comes to like the world building, the fact that you can run around Raccoon City at the, like, near the end, like an apocalyptic Raccoon City, I was just loving it. And going down into like the depth and the hive, kind of like the films, going down into like everything's all new, and they've got I just love the way they brought in the story as how and I think it sets, like we were saying about the ending, we won't go too much into it yet, but how it kind of sets itself up for another one. So if there is another, so if they did go in to 10, which is what hopefully this is just a direct follow on to that, you can quite easily do that. So it's amazing. The story, I love the storyline of this. I really enjoyed the little things like how they like kind of chopped and changed it up. Obviously, there are 2 different play styles, 2 different stories going on in regards to, you then get split up, you then come back together for a bit. There's a bit where you're like on the roof trying to shoot to protect her for a bit. So yeah, it's just how they joined it all up and tied it all up at the end was great. And I know you had to play a little bit longer than you wanted to as Leon, but I think the fact is because she had kind of defected, that she had kind of like admitted that she's then hanging around with the bad guys kind of thing, going off of them. That's when I was like, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, once she finds out like other bits about the story. But yeah, I'm not sure how far in the story do you want to go into yet, or do
you can always kind of maybe to talk about the ending before we do the final thoughts. Perhaps.
Yeah, we'll keep all that to the final bit then. But yeah, so in regards to like story mode, then yeah, it was. I just loved it. I thought they'd done such a good job. Really enjoyed it. Even the little creepy babies.
Yeah, I'm going to chuck this out there because this seems to be a Resident Evil trope, and see if anybody else agrees. And if they do agree, what is your bit that falls within this category? I think every Resident Evil has a bit that, regardless of how good it is, it could be a 10 out of 10 game, but there is always a little bit of it where you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this bit again. and it's not because it's bad, it's just because the rest of it is better than that bit. And for me, the bit that I found minorly in that category was when you first get to Raccoon City as Leon. I thought, this is great post-apocalyptic Raccoon City, this is great. And that first part of having to go in, get the doors open, go up, go round, go down, get the basement door open, that bit really, the first time round was fine. And then when I started doing my second and third playthroughs, I was like, this is the bit, isn't it? This is that bit in the game that I just don't like. And I think every RE game has that. Does anybody agree or disagree with that? And if you agree, what bit was your least favorite bit in RE9?
I would say for me, not that it's a bad bit, because it's creepy and it's a fun little section, but it's a lot of just waiting around. And considering how action-packed the rest of the game is, it was the bit in the orphanage where you're in the flashback and you just got to hide under the table, hide under the bed. And don't get me wrong, horror game where you're hiding under the bed and there's creepy girls giggling around the bed and you're breathing heavy. Yeah, it's cool, but compared to the rest of the game, it's just like, how much longer do I need to wait before I could just walk out the room and go over here? So that's probably the weak point for me.
What about anybody else? Does anybody else think there's a weak point?
The creepy bit with the in the orphanage is a little bit so because it does feel that there's bits where you don't really know what the hell you're supposed to be doing, whereas the rest of the Resident Evil game, it's quite clear that you know what you're doing. So I think that was a little bit off kilter, but I don't think it was the worst bit. I actually think the worst bit was kind of near the end when you're in the lab. I felt that a lot of the stuff that's sort of the cohesion, because the thing is with a lot of Grace's segments, it's very horror orientated. And I think it's done very well. And it leans massively into 7 and 8 again in that aspect. And then obviously all Leon's bits is all action paced, Resident Evil 4, etc. But it feels that last bit in the lab is all just action and there's no creepiness to it. All the creepiness is just gone as soon as you get into that. And it's not, I don't think it's bad, but I feel that it loses that balance that it's done so well through most of the game. Doesn't ruin the game.
Nope.
But it does feel like it's just like they kind of go, we didn't know what to do with Grace, so we'll just make the thing.
I do feel like there could have been another Grace section near the end, because I think the first half, the balance of going Grace to Leon was quite balanced, and then there's quite a lot of Leon for a while. Yeah, and then you get a very short section with Grace, and then you're Leon again. It's like I kind of wanted that Grace section at the end to be a bit longer. The other thing I found with a few Resident Evils, I found this with 8 as well, where my favourite section was near the beginning. Because I think in 8, it's the bit where you're in a house, Demetrescu, and you'll be falling around by the giant vampire lady. That was like the best bit of the game. That's right near the beginning. If they flipped it and put that near the end, I think it would have been better. And then in 9, it's the sort of the asylum that you're in when you're playing Grace, getting all the quartz for the door. That was probably my favourite bit of the game. And it was too early, I think. It would have been cool if that was later in the game. But yeah, still good.
Yeah. What about you, Dave? Are there parts, because I think it happens in every Resident Evil game, I'm almost convinced. Was there a part in this that you disliked more than others?
Not disliked as such, but obviously there's a like a CP challenge that you got to do, and it says you've got to beat the game in under 4 hours. And it's like you're sort of looking at your watch saying, come on, how can I make this part in the orphanage faster? You sort of wonder if you can sort of say, look, will they please just release like a patch where you can have like an RPG or something just to speed it up a little bit, you know, to them up and just cane it for the Benny Hill theme tune blaring out for the people who've done it patiently like 100 times. But no, I think it's fit for purpose. And just to touch upon what MAGG said, towards the end of the game, unfortunately, I had been a little bit trigger happy with my ammo. So by the time I got to the art lab, I was literally saying, "Oh, I've really got to MacGyver myself to the rest of the game. I've got to combine everything I can in case there's like a big boss at the end of the game." Yeah, surprise. And yeah, I literally sort of got to the art lab thinking, okay, you know, I'm just completely spent on ammo, and I've really strategically bought this. But yeah, it's a fantastic game, and again, I think if you're doing a speed run, the orphanage section is frustrating, but other than that, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. Blunners, is there a bit in the game you disliked more than others?
No, I think Mag's got it nail on the head, especially the bit when you're having to go back on yourself when you're like in the height of it, and you know that they're all then gonna start coming out again. But if you've just like made enough of what are they, like they're kind of like the Molotov cocktail kind of things. Like yeah, and they're just like pretty much one hit kills with them. So it's like it wasn't. Yeah, you kind of knew that what was coming. So yeah, I think they could have kind of mixed that up a little bit. But yeah, it's like you said, every Resi game has them. I understand that part which you're on about, but I didn't mind that bit, to be honest. But yeah, out in the.
I liked all the other bits in Raccoon City, just not that first building. There's something about that first building that's a knob.
Going back into the police station as well, especially after recently playing the 2 remake, to go back in and be like, oh, it was really nice thing to be able to go back in as Leon years later. Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch. I just feel that the bit with Mr. X was just a bit too much of it, and the stamp. And then he got rid of him so easily. I was just like, you could have just taken that out and just left it that you'd gone round, found all the bits, had the bit of the thing, got through the police. I don't think you needed that. But then again, I also hated the bit with the spider, and I wish they'd taken that out because I hate stuff like that. And that if there was one bit I really hated, it was that. And I had to brace myself to play that bit because I knew it was just going to be horrible for me. But it's still good, and it was very satisfying that you kill it. But I was just like, but it did feel that Mr. X was shoehorned, or a different Mr. X was shoehorned in.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
You know what? In case they had an alternate name for it instead of Requiem, they could very well have gone with Reunion because it did have a hat tip to, like, as he said, you got the spider from 1. You got Mr. X from whether he has 2, was it, or 3?
2, yeah, and 2,
and of course Plant 42 or whatever it is. They've also got an awful lot of
and the liquors as well.
Hat tips, the liquors as well. So they've got like an awful lot of hat tips for the previous incarnations of Resident Evil.
I do think as well, from Blind's point about whether you can one shot with the bottles of like the acid and stuff, it did kind of make the liquors then feel quite weak. Whereas like in 3, the liquors are like really tough enemies. Like they could have used them a lot better. Whereas like here's like one of the most iconic enemies of the game. You can now one shot them with this item, and it's like, but you know, it's still satisfying. But it's just like I kind of feel like they've turned that big menacing creature into just like cannon fodder.
I'll tell you what, play through it on Insanity, and
fair
then
enough.
Tell me it's.
I won't say that. I won't say that again. Fair enough. I was playing on normal, so.
But yeah, I do agree because normal is the normal default setting that most people play it through on.
I was saying before I went live, my pattern with Resident Evil is first playthrough, normal, no guides or anything, just going blind and just try and beat the game and enjoy it. And then I go back and I play it again on easy, but with a guide so I can get all the collectibles, get all the bobbleheads and all the files and everything. And then I'll go back and play it on the hard mode because at that point I know what I'm supposed to do and I kind of a bit more prepared. And that's kind of my routine to play through it. And then if I want to play it again, I'll go back and check any achievements I might have missed.
Yeah. Before we dive into a couple of the other big things to talk about, the one thing I really wanted to bring up was something that I just thoroughly enjoyed throughout the game, more so at the beginning because it was just so fucking creepy. But I really liked the character Victor Gideon. He was really cool, if that's the best way to describe him. There was something about him that was really unpleasant, but there was also something about him that was kind of relatable in that he just wanted to do a really good job. It's just a shame that his job was really like fucking up everybody and making things really dark and twisted. But there was something about his character that I found really menacing in that psychiatric ward, the hospital bit at the beginning. His teeth being gold and grimy, him constantly having that headset on, which I know was for like night vision and, you know, zooming around, but it's just something about it. He really reminded me of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. There was just something really calculated and purposeful about him that I, you know, made me a little bit unhinged. Were there any sort of new characters or other parts or extensions of characters that people sort of really found with this one?
I mean, even with Grace, I think some people were criticizing Grace, but I like the fact that you've got to remember that she's been going through a lot of trauma, which she obviously played a bit with, if everyone's not played it, with the bit with the hotel. And then she's not going to be like a seasoned action veteran like Leon. So the whole fact that when you first start and you have got a gun, the arm's waving all over the place, which makes it really bloody difficult to just shoot, you know, anything. I think that's great because it made it more realistic and it made it more grounded in that fact. And then when Leon turns up, you expect him to get a hand cannon out and one shot everything because you know he's such a badass. But I did like the fact that they put that in, and the fact that she's always constantly like hyperventilating and that, I think that added the tension to it. And it just, for me, it possibly made it one of the most realistic characters in a Resident Evil game, like the closest thing to an actual human being. Because even with 7 and 8, and you know, you got Ethan, again, not trying to chuck spoilers in, but Ethan ain't really Ethan. You find out, so you can't really relate to him in that respect. She's like, I think they did a really good job with her, and I think anyone that did criticize was like, well, then you're missing the point of what she was about.
I think it adds, like I say, it adds to the atmosphere and the feeling of the game, because the whole point with playing with Grace, if you've got limited ammo and you've got to try and solve puzzles and get around with a torch in the dark, avoiding the big monsters that you can't really do anything but run away from, that's a very different play style to playing as Leon, where you've got loads of ammo, loads of weapons, and you can just run around with your axe, like taking out zombies' heads. And I feel like for a horror game, it's nice to have those sections with Grace where you're like, oh yeah, I'm outgunned here. I've maybe got a handful of bullets left. I might sneak around this zombie and avoid it. I think I had a full-on Red Dwarf moment with Grace, and it was really early doors when the sister or the girl, I can't remember what they call her, is sort of stalking you in that initial bit. And I know you can go into the rooms where there's light. She can't go in, so you get a little bit of safe haven. But there was definitely a moment where she appeared behind me and I could see a room at the end with light, and I thought, that's where I need to go. And she was chasing me. I think it was in insanity mode, and she runs fast in insanity mode. There's no walking. It's shat your pants running.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can't hear her. And I turned around and she was so close. And there was another room on my right. And it was just in this moment, just change of plan, leg it, and just dive into this room. Hope there's a switch on the wall and turned it on and whatnot. But yes, full Red Dwarf moment in there. Anybody else with any new characters or additions to what we had before we move on to the next topic?
No, I thought
stunned silence.
I will say one thing. I did think there was one character that was totally pointless, which is the helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, I'm here. I'm going to fly your helicopter. Yeah. I'll look after the little girl. You go in that house. Yeah. You come back out. We'll fly. oh dear, crashed, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Nice to know you for the whole 5 minutes you were in that game. Pointless character.
Yeah.
Well, it's to me like if Grace miraculously knew how to fly a helicopter, we'd be like, hang on a minute, why does she know how to fly? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
just to
get
get
that
her
she
from A
wouldn't
to
have
B.
to fly a helicopter, but I was like, maybe they could have done something else and just.
Well,
I know
she's
it all leads to
FBI.
that church bit, but I was just a bit like, what was the even point of this guy? Do you know what?
Yeah.
I suppose in a way as well, additional characters includes the zombies themselves because they all retain a little bit of their humanity. And I liked that. Like if you have the maid, she'll start cleaning marks off the floor. There's the guy that likes having the lights turned off.
Yeah.
There's like the
Stingers.
You've got like the chef going meat and like chopping his meat and stuff. So I really like the zombies felt a lot more like fleshed out sort of thing. And it was nice because that's one thing I missed in 7 and 8 was like I love 7, but 7 could have had some zombies in it. I kind of feel like they had them molded, and it's what if you had people that were partially molded that were like zombies, and the mold was getting worse, and then towards the end of the game they're full on mold monsters. But they just replaced the zombies with mold, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. And then in 8, it was more like the running ones, like the lichen kind of
it's all werewolves and vampires, isn't it?
This was back to zombies, and you know, Resident Evil isn't necessarily all about zombies. It's the T virus and everything else around it, but at its core, it's zombies. So I love having zombies in Resident Evil games.
Just to touch upon what you just said about them having their own individual personality. I'm not sure if you've seen the videos, and I wish I'd picked up on this sooner, but you can basically use glass bottles. You know, there's like a patient hooked up to an IV, and he's like the Chuck Norris of zombies. So if you like toss a empty bottle near another enemy, he'll dispatch it even chunk. You know,
knocks people out with his IV, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's good. And that was a nice.
I can't say I've ever pulled that off, but I heard that you could do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Considering all very. Oh, you have to bring that back up again.
That's all right.
That's all right. Considering it's all very horrific action feel, she feels yes, she does.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. In a terrible comparison, but she's like Penny in The Big Bang Theory. Penny is us because I don't know quantum physics, but the characters in The Big Bang Theory do. So Penny is me. So yeah, she's the Penny of the Resident Evil world, lovable and relatable. There we go. Right, let's dive on to gameplay, mechanics, and design, because there's an awful lot I think to unpick here. Specifically with this being one of the first games, if not the only Resident Evil game that gives you a choice of play styles from the beginning. There's no additional patch like there was for RE8 where you could play it in third person if you wanted to. This is, you can play it third person or first person, however you want with either character. They had their recommendations because they designed the game to be in a particular way. But you still had the free roam to kind of do whatever you wanted to do in terms of your particular play style, which I thoroughly appreciate. So yeah, with regards to gameplay, the mechanics, and also the design of this particular game, I'm going to throw it out there into the ether for someone that wants to start.
I feel like I already kind of covered it earlier when I said the fact that you've got kind of two different genres of Resident Evil, and they brought them together quite perfectly, really, with the third and the first. I know you said you can play it in different ways, and I've seen people play it in different ways, but I felt like that was the best way to play it. And I just think it's just done very, very well in that respect.
It seems to be really popular with speedrunners to do both stories in first person.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people doing Leon in first person, and I don't understand how that becomes a solid mechanic, but it seems to work for people that are really good at speedrunning Resident Evil.
I've seen some clips with, so if you do first person and like look up at a certain point on the wall, some of the zombies like don't react to you and things like that. And there's like a bit where you come down a lift. Apparently, if you stand in the corner and look up, the zombies don't spawn and things like that. So I think a few speedrunners have found that by being first person Leon, you can get a few loopholes.
Good old loopholes.
Gotta love.
I was the other way. So because obviously I prefer the old school way.
Yeah,
I didn't like the fact 7 and 8 were first person. I thought it was shit. That annoyed me. And, I like the fact that when I couldn't play it first person at all. I had to play it third person. And when she's shitting herself and then like she's shaking, visibly shaking.
Yeah.
That's what was making me, and you can see the breath and certain minutes. That was what was making me shit myself, because obviously I could see how she was acting, and I think that all kind of goes away because you can't see how they are at all. Especially like the intro bit when you're walking as well. When you're walking as Leon, and you then get banged into, and you're seeing everything around you, and the raindrops pouring off your head, and all that kind of stuff. That's just how I prefer. I'm used to the old tank controls and turning. Obviously, VR is a completely different matter, but I understand why they've done it, because playing it in VR, you have to be first person, and that would be great. Yeah. And I think that's something hopefully they can bring out in the future.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
If they did, then maybe I'd have to get a PSVR for that. But that's the reason I have to play it in third person, just because I like to see, and then I like to I just feel you get a bit more of like how it is. But I get our first person in. I fully understand how people say about it. I just can't play it like that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, just out of interest, then, did you go back and play 8 when they did bring out the third person?
I did not play it until they brought it out in third person.
Okay.
I didn't even touch it. I didn't even buy it. I was like, nah, I'm not interested. Then as soon as it did, boom. But I remember the first.
See, I didn't get 8 until they added the VR option.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. So I didn't even pick them up until they. And once they were that, I thought, I'll go and buy it now. And that was basically what I did. I don't know why. I prefer like first person, like your shooter games and stuff like that, your FPS, isn't that? But which for me it was a bit different. Like that when you're at the dinner table and you're there all eating them. Is it 7? That's when I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But I like to be able to see my character getting tortured.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, especially people like, I guess, like myself, who are a little bit on the goth side of things, people who love horror, RE8 was a perfect thing, because you're just getting chased around a castle by a 9-foot vampire lady and her scary daughters. It's the thing that I would really like to pull up on is, and I guess it falls under the mechanics for RE9, was I think this is one of the first Resident Evil games for a little while where I thought the puzzles were pitched really well. It wasn't overly difficult, but some of them weren't overly easy either. There's a little bit of backtracking and a little bit of moving around, but not so much backtracking that you are just constantly going backwards and forwards. And the hospital could have fallen really bad victim to that, because you had the East Wing and the West Wing. Both sides were fairly sizable, and if you were having to constantly go between the two to take this one here, take this to the East Wing, now you're here, now you need to take this to the West Wing, I think that would have gotten really old really quickly. But I do really think they pitched a lot of the puzzles in this at about the right level. I don't know if anybody else felt that it was a fun puzzle system. I didn't sit there and think, if I don't figure this out in the next 10 seconds, I'm going to launch my PlayStation through the window, which I do have with certain puzzle games. But this one I thought was pretty.
No, I'd agree
solid
with that. Yeah, no, I think the puzzle difficulty was about right.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot of nice little things to find as well, like even like the different files on stuff. And it's like the moon puzzles and things. Like I said, it wasn't too difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do, but you still had to kind of go around and do it, if you know what I mean. You still had to put some effort in. It wasn't just like, you just turn a thing and it opens. It gave you a little bit of stuff you had to go and do. I think the puzzles were pretty good.
But what about the coins for the upgrades? So having to then, do you know what I mean? I thought that was a good. Luckily, by the time I got there, I actually found quite a lot of them. So I did manage to upgrade my blood capacity in that.
There was one thing that I really appreciated, because I always find this Resident Evil games of like, why is it like it is like in the police station? If there's no zombies, take all the T virus out of it, why does the police station have like a puzzle where you have to like attach something to a statue? Like in the baker's house, like why was their house all like messed up with the weird scorpion door? Like it doesn't make sense. And there's one bit where Grace gets a gem to get into like the parlor room, and she just makes a comment like, why was it like this? How do people normally get in here? And it's just to acknowledge that, like, it's weird, right? That you open up the door with a gem, like, all the zombies aside, why is there a parlor room opened up by a gem? This is odd. And she just acknowledges that for like the first time. I was like, thank you, Capcom, for like putting that in there. It's like, I've been saying that for years. Why is this like this?
Yeah.
Also, the mechanics of both characters had inventories. Obviously,
Yeah.
one could carry a lot more than the other.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great design they had in there.
Mhm.
I don't know what everyone did. Did people buy different guns? Did they upgrade just the guns they had? What
Do you
did
know
guys do?
the only time I purposefully bought better weapons was for insanity mode, purely because it was hard. And so I needed something that was like the Requiem for Leon early doors, because you give it to Grace for that first part, and that Requiem, even in insanity mode, is your lifesaver. But when you're Leon and you ain't got it, it's not a lifesaver at all. So there's an old-fashioned like pistol that takes the Requiem bullets, and I needed that. So I definitely spent some money on that. And then for Grace, in the last lab section, I had to buy that pistol that is effectively just a semi-automatic machine gun, because if I didn't have that, again, you couldn't take out certain things. And I'm sure there are people out there going, you're just crap at games. You can just dodge it, run around, shoot it in the head once and run around it. What are you thinking?
One thing I see a lot is shoot them in the knee and they go down on one knee, and then you can run up and hit them with the axe. And then they only take like a couple. You're conserving a lot of ammo then by relying on axe and knife for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Which obviously gets a bit harder later in the game, but especially when you get into the lab and there's the guy with all the guns and stuff and you start getting in shootouts.
I found myself too scared to use Requiem because you're like, oh, what if I need like the bullets?
Yeah.
So the first time I used it by accident was on the chef straight away. I was like, oh fuck, I've just wasted one of my bullets. But then you didn't realize that he then drops a key, which then opens up the larder and that.
Yeah.
And then the other time I had to use it was the big fat blob one that then follows you around. I absolutely crapped myself, just ran away from him, ran into that room, and he's trying to come through, and I was shooting him, and it was doing nothing. And then I just thought, fuck it, got the Requiem out, and then he just like blows up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was then I was like, okay, I've got no bullets left on that. Well, I just like wasted.
To be fair, I think that's a good use of the Requiem is chunk and share.
Yeah.
Talking of blowing things up, the earlier Resident Evils, when you unlock the RPG, you could use it at point blank range, you'd be absolutely fine. I thought, great, now I'm going to get my aim back, use it at point blank range, and blew myself to bits because you are no longer rocket launcher proof. And boy, did I find out the fun way.
Yeah. And maybe that's a good thing, because there's so much close quarters stuff in this game. There's also a lot of very open battles as well, but certainly the close quarters game battles and stuff. Yeah, firing that rocket launcher is that's a no. That's like dropping a grenade in your pants and hoping for the best.
So yeah, want to move on to the next bit, Ollie?
We can. So this bit, I'm sure Dave is going to have some big thoughts on. So I'm actually going to go to Dave first on this. The art, the sound, the atmosphere, all of which could be encompassed as one big thing for this. Resident Evil, certainly in the... I would even say, even in original RE1, RE2, RE3, the sound and atmospheres are what we remember from that still. Ticking of the clock, hearing things jump through windows and that kind of thing. It was terrifying back in the day. But certainly with RE9, this one pushed, I thought, quite a lot of limits and boundaries. So, Dave, I'm very interested to hear what you think about the sound and the atmosphere for this one.
Being an RE game aside, it's hands down one of the best looking games out there, bar none. The cutscene and the gameplay, they just integrate seamlessly. You know, it's not like back in the days of Resident Evil 1, you get this gorgeous FMV and it's like sort of low resolution pixely stuff. It's yes, there you go. It's just flawless from start to finish. I thought the sound design was absolutely incredible. And again, because it's just like a movie in many aspects, you know, the sound design, even as we talked about in the introduction, just a simple traffic, just a simple rainfall. The dialogue is very, very good. You know, it's again, we've come so far from the original hammy acting of RE1 The dialogue is absolutely, it's
Hammy?
endearing, it's believable. It's not cheesy. It's not like a B movie kind of schmaltzy,
Yeah.
Jill sandwich, nothing like that. It's it's like believable, and it's a really good atmosphere. And literally from the moment that the game starts, you just have to hit the ground running, because as you know, just starting with Grace, it really is baptism by fire.
Mm-hmm.
And the very, very first section, you set eyes on Marie, it's like, so this is happening. And it terrifies you, and then it kind of lets you get a bit of your adrenaline reserve kind of balances off, because finally I've got weapons now. I can kind of balance off and blast some stuff and decompress a bit. But I think the balance is absolutely right. But graphically, it's incredible. The variety of different zombies, as we've talked about, they have their own personalities, they have their own little quirks. The chef, he was a handful at first, but and of course you sort of walk into a room with a piano and you think, this shouldn't be too hard, and this zombie will like turn around and just smack you with like a sound wave of operatic singing that just just makes you completely lose your ability to aim. And it's absolutely fantastic. And the lighting as well, especially in the when you're underneath the is it underneath like the hospital or the clinic,
Mm-hmm.
to avoid Maria. That is the atmosphere in that, man alive, it's absolutely terrifying. And of course the one where you have to use your crank handles, again a nice little hat tip to Resident Evil of yesteryear, the good old crank handles. I mean it's as fun as a video game as it is as a cinematic experience. It's I mean, hats off to the people who said, we understand what we have to do, and man alive did they do it. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible.
I agree. Couldn't agree more with anything you've said, actually. Anybody else with specifically things like the art and sound design for this one?
I think, especially with certain elements, especially when, again, I think the bit, again, we said this, probably one of the best parts of this game and the biggest parts of this game is in the hospital.
Yep.
And how it starts. And I don't think I'm ever going to get the sound of the creature above you tapping along, and you're looking, and you can, and it's not just the fact that it's the sound of it going back to front, moving through the walls and stuff, but the fact that you can also see as you're going, like the little bits of dust that come from the ceiling, the lights are swaying. It just set it so well, because you're like, there is something following me. So even before the big reveal of what it is, it's like, I'm not alone in here, and this isn't good. And there's not just zombies here. There's something that's a greater threat. I just thought that was just done so well with that. Yeah,
I love the reveal of that monster. Genuine moment of, oh shit.
Yeah,
it really does take your breath away. I think in that initial reaction to that first sister type character, and then running from her is terrifying in itself. Blunders and Tim, art, sound, and atmosphere.
Yeah, I think going around the hospital again is probably the main section that I keep thinking back to. It's just when you haven't taken everything out yet, it's just walking through the corridors with dim lighting with a torch, and you can just hear something like breathing or scratching around, the occasional little grunt, and it's like you just know you're not alone in there and you're not safe. And that's why I always like going in blind first and then going back and do it with the guide, because there's some sections where I'm like really on edge because I think there's like a zombie around every corner, and actually there's a whole bit you can walk around before you then encounter a zombie, but you don't know that, so you're constantly like 7 was worse for that as well, because actually 7 the enemies are a little bit few and far between once you've actually played it, but you don't know that when you're playing it, so the atmosphere is like always really tense. And again, we talked about the jump between Grace and Leon. It's that atmosphere shifts because it has completely different feel to it. It feels like you're playing 2 games. And there's lots of other games that have done that sort of thing before, but I don't think anything has done it as well as this. Like I can remember playing what was it? It was like a King Kong game I played once. We played as like a human with a gun, and then you played as King Kong. And I can remember King Kong was way more fun to play as, and the King Kong sections were really short, and then you had to go back to playing as a human again. It's like, damn it. But is this? I wasn't ever like, oh no, I wish I could be Grace for longer. I wish I could be Leon for longer. It's like, no, this is the right time to move it over. But yeah, it's the sound definitely. It's the sound effects of the zombies groaning and scratching, I think, that really set the atmosphere for me.
For me, my favorite musical cue, the soundtrack for the game is phenomenal from start to finish. But the musical cue that I was hoping I'd get and got it, and immediately was like, it's like putting on a pair of comfy slippers, was going into the RPD.
Yeah.
The door opens, you go through, you get that first panning shot, and you're like, do the music, and then you get the music, and you're like, oh yeah, that's it. That was worth the £65 alone.
Sorry to cut in, but talking of that, before you play the game, there is actually an option so you can choose which style of music that you actually want to have when you're playing it. There's like a little option in the menu. You can have like original music or the revised score.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so if you like a bit of nostalgia, you can basically set it back to earlier Resident Evil style music, which I thought was another really nice touch.
Oh, I'm just gonna have to play it again then, aren't I? Managed to platinum it, and I'll have to do it again just for that.
Yeah, I thought they nailed it. I thought they nailed, like, the art style is, like we've just said about it. It is fantastic. It, like, just the way, I just love how it looks. It looks gorgeous. The character designs are fantastic. So the art is absolutely brilliant, and the atmospheric, like that first section, like you said, like we're all saying, I was absolutely crapping myself trying to go around them corners, trying not to take any damage, and I thought they nailed it. As in, when they were switching from like Leon, I was like, yeah, good. Now get a chainsaw and start hacking everything to bits. It was the right time to do it, because I was starting to get a bit like, fuck, if this is like this the whole time, it's going to be, I don't know. It was a good break between like the two characters. And to be honest, I didn't think there was going to actually, once you got out of there and then you're like, oh, no, I've got to carry this kid to like the other side, and you know everything's going to come out at you, and you just don't know how it's going to come. I was a bit like thinking, once we got out and got on the helicopter, I thought that was kind of going to be the end. The fact that they opened it up and you still had a load more sections after that, I thought was fantastic. But it looked, like you said, base PS5 just looked fantastic. And they absolutely nailed it. I really enjoyed it, and I do think that this is it. Like, this is what makes this game so good, is the atmosphere on it. But the art style helps that as well, because it's realistic. It looks like the way it looks, and then like you've all said about even just going underground, like going into a post-apocalyptic like city in the middle of nowhere, thinking, where do I go? Then you're going down thinking, right, what's down here? What could be down here? And the sounds that things are making in the distance. And like you said, the giant spider, and then you come into it later when it's dead, down late, like further down. So yeah, I just really like, all of these three things is what makes this game like so good. And yeah, it's such a must buy.
Yeah. Well, funny you mention must buys and must plays. I think it's time. We are approaching that hour mark, and it's time for us to go round and say whether we think people should avoid it, whether they should just play it, or whether it is a must play. So, Blunners, avoid, play, or must play?
This is a must play for me. This is the pinnacle. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I absolutely loved every minute of it, and I didn't want it to end. I was gutted when it did. We should do the ending after this, because there is two endings. But yeah, this is a definite must play.
Okay, Tim.
Yeah, this is a must play for me as well. I would say it's probably my second favorite Resident Evil game. Yeah.
What's the first?
First is 7.
Oh,
really like 7.
Two modern Resident Evil games.
Yeah, I do like the modern ones. Sorry, Blunners. I like the first person. But me and Blunners are both happy. I get to play first person. He gets to play third person. We're both happy. So they've nailed it, because you could swap them out.
Everyone's a winner.
Yeah, everyone's a winner.
Either way, yeah.
Okay. Dave, avoid, play, or must play?
Absolutely must play all day, but only one thing frustrated me about this game, which we haven't actually touched upon yet. There's a challenge that you have to do, And one part of the challenge is to go to a specific room and flush a toilet 8 times.
Yes.
Who would know how to do that?
Do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's all these little hints that they say throughout the game, and then you watch the videos telling you the hints, and you're like,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I just saw blood.
One of them, yeah. So like one of them is just to flush a toilet 8 times. Another one is to stand at the bit where they're feeding the bodies into the processing unit. You've got to stop it for exactly 15 minutes. Like, how would you know this? But other than that, yeah, must play all day.
MAGG, avoid, play, must play.
Easily a must play. This is definitely going to be in our top 15 games of the year when we do this at the end of the year. The only thing that's is potentially going to might topple it a bit, which ironic because it's another Capcom game, is Pragmata, because it's that thing of because I'm loving that so much. So it'd be interesting to see where it ranked. But we'll see when we get to the end of the year. But yeah, it's great. I've only got 2 little niggles with the game. One we'll probably discuss in the end bit with a certain character, and then he just says something, and you go, "Oh, come on!" There was no chance that was going to happen.
Absolutely.
And then, the only other thing is needed more chainsaws. I'm going to say this now, even though it was a nice touch that you got to use in 2 parts of the game, a chainsaw. It was so infuriating that it'd be spinning around on the floor and you can't pick it up, but a zombie just picks it up straight away and attacks you, and you're just like, give me a break. So it would have been nicer if the mechanic with the chainsaw was a little bit smoother, so that you could grab it and then go hell for leather with it. It felt like it was very much geared that, no, the zombies are going to have this chainsaw, it'll be a pain in your ass. And I did see a cartoon that summed the whole game up very well, and he's just going, Leon's just going, ow, ow, ow. Zombie just grabs it straight away, and then Leon shoots him in the head and then goes, ow, ow, ow. And I thought that was great because it summed it up. But yeah, I definitely must play this game. You've got to play it if you haven't played it.
Agree. I agree with all of you. I think it's a unanimous must play. It might be my favorite Resident Evil game. It might just top it. For me, it's always been RE2, the original. I can't say I favor the remake over the original, but the remake is so bloody good that I have to put them on a pedestal together. But this kind of maybe just takes it for me, and it is just because of the different gameplay styles. It is like you said, Blannis, it's like playing 2 games. I really like the characters in this. I love the zombies. I love that there's a little bit of development with the zombies, and they've got their own personalities. They retain some of their human qualities. I really love Victor Gideon as a villain. I thought he was just a really magnificent character. And it doesn't outstay its welcome. You know, if you wanted to do like a solid playthrough, you know, tinkering into some of the little bits, the odds and sods, but just play through the game and absorb, I guess, like the graphics in the room, like 10-12 hours, and that's pitch perfect for a Resi game. You can then obviously start doing the speed runs, get the trophy, complete it under 4 hours, which is a good fun challenge to do. But yeah, it's either on par with RE2 or it's like a hair fraction better. So it's up there as one of, if not my favorite Resident Evil game, I think.
What about the others? What about you guys? What's your favorite Resident games?
Oh, for me, I still love the OG. I still have number 1, and I also loved Resident Evil 0. But one thing I'm just going to very quickly sneak in. Also, today's free DLC for RE9.
Yes,
definitely give that a go.
I will be doing that.
Mag, what's your favorite?
I really like the original 4. It's interesting that obviously when I started streaming and we started like announcing our games of the year and stuff, 7 and 8 were in our games of the year, and it's highly likely that 9's going to be in there. But 4 remake never made it into our top 15 because it was a perfectly decent remake, but it didn't feel that it really added anything new. And I think it's funny, we said this about Silent Hill 2 remake, that it was very good, but that didn't get in our top 15 either, because if anything, that was actually slightly worse than Resident 4 remake because they dragged it out far too long. Whereas I think the original Resident Evil 4 is where it's at for me. I did enjoy 1 and 2. I never played 3 originally. I've only played the 3 remake, but 4 original was great for me, and that's always probably going to be the best in there. And then I kind of jumped to 7, 8, 9. I don't like 5. I think 6 is a catastrophe of a game, and the less I say about that, because I don't want to spend 15 minutes ranting about that piece of shit.
I would agree.
Yeah, mine. I'm like David. Mine's got to be mine's the OG, where it all started, all begun. Never forget that first bit on the PlayStation, waiting for them doors, and then they make you come, the first zombie coming through the window. So yeah, number 1, 0, I really enjoyed as well. But 4, I didn't realize I had it. I bought it 3 times. So I've got PS2, Xbox, PS2, and it was only when I randomly got the games out, I must have just kept seeing it and buying it. But yeah, GameCube, and I was like, why have I got 4 copies? Why have I got 3 copies of this? What's going on? So yeah, but that one, as I said, was a good one as well. But yeah, the OG one is definitely the best for me, and 9 is up there. 9 is up there, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So we've mentioned it a couple of times. The ending. Right. The ending. Depending on which one you go for, one is clearly canon, the other one is clearly not. So for anyone that isn't aware, there are 2 endings that you can have, and those endings initiate at the moment that you type in the word, and you either type in a word and it releases the virus, or you type in a word and it does not. So let's go in reverse order, because I know Mag's got a lot to say about this ending, and I know exactly the bit he's talking about, and I must admit, even I went, oh, like, okay, fine, I'll let it pass because the game's been spectacular up till now, but still, cheap shot, Leon. You didn't know that. Anyway, Mag, ending.
Okay, so the funny thing is, I want to know if anyone else did this. Did you feel that you were doing the right thing, and when you did the right thing, you got the worst ending?
Yeah, I thought, oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah. So
like, what have I done?
That's it. So that, I think this has happened to a lot of people. Like, with the whole game, you're trying to do the right thing, and then you get to the bit and you go, right, okay, so we'll do the right thing, and it's like, no, shit ending. Everyone pretty much dies.
Really quick, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, done. We're done with this. And I was like, bollocks. Okay. Yeah. Whereas the other ending is a far superior ending, because obviously it carries on. You get an actual boss battle, which I'm very glad was still Mr. Gideon, not the other, character, because he served his purpose. But I'm glad he was just kind of window dressing. Yeah, the other bad guy. But I'm glad that it was Victor that you had that battle with. And I did feel that the majority of it ended really well. And even the little flashbacks at the end of the credits and stuff, where you see Grace back in the office and they're like, we need your opinion on this. Can you come and do this? And you're like, cool. She's more confident. This is good. The nods to the fact that they mentioned Chris Redfield, and they're like, oh, isn't Chris here? And they're like, no, Chris is doing such and such, which could lead to something else. But the bit that just got me, I was just like, there's no way in hell, and this is what Ali was saying, that this could ever happen, is the fact that obviously that the girl that you've been, as Grace, the girl that you've been protecting and saving, obviously, she dies, she turns into this abomination of a monster. Leon comes along, blows the absolute shit out of her, literally murders her. So that's why Grace is all sort of like, oh, God, how could you? I'm going to go off with Victor, which, again, I get that, because you feel like the trust has been broken between them, because she's still like hooks on this girl I needed to protect, this girl I wanted, and you've just murdered her. And he just casually walks up to her at the end and just goes, I didn't hit any of vitals. She'll be fine. And you're like, fuck off.
Yeah, it kind of it takes away the importance of her getting killed, doesn't it? It's kind of like, oh yeah, it's a fine, we can just resurrect her.
It just undid a load of good stuff that it did. And it was nice that you see the clips with her, and that she's got the family, her and the girl have made a family. I didn't mind that, but they could have done it that the girl maybe got trapped somewhere didn't become the thing that she became, so that then you go back and they rescued her and say, oh no, we've got a rescue team to get her. And I think that would have been plausible for the fact that she turns into this monstrosity and you blow the shit out of her and there's literally nothing left of her. If there's nothing left of her, how can you have not hit any vitals? She was literally goop on the floor.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I only destroyed her brain. She'll be
Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't hit any vitals.
I was going to say, do you remember that movie, the Naked Gun, Nordberg? It said he was hit 18 times, but luckily the bullets missed every vital organ. It's like,
Yeah.
Do you know, for me, they could have just gone full Ghostbusters with it and just have you like take the monster down and she just falls down, and then at the end, once they kill Gozer and Dana Barrett and Louis Tully are still they're in the bodies of the terror dogs. It's like they could have just done that. They could have just revealed that they'd like try and remove the body, and then there's the child inside it still. Like there's so many sci-fi ways you could have done it.
I suppose if they did that, then they'd have to do it with all the other like Chunk and all the other girl and the other thing. I know again you'd end up destroying them, but I guess there was an element that they would have to make that canon for all the other bigger monsters that you had to face, which probably would possibly open up more questions than that I guess.
I suppose it's not a problem that she survived. It's just that how the dialogue justifies her survival. Of like, oh, I didn't hit her vitals.
It's like I definitely hit her vitals. I shot that thing in the head a lot.
Yes.
It's right up there, isn't it? And South Park, with the mayor of South Park said, "What have I done?" Bang, and the next scene, she's got a bandage on her head. She's absolutely fine.
Yes, exactly that. But yeah, ending for other people. What were your thoughts on the ending?
Yeah, well, I was like, man, I thought, fuck, what have I done? And I wanted to, and luckily, I was thinking, oh man, I'm gonna have to try and like speed run it all to see what the other ending is. But then it comes up and says, oh, do you want to do the other ending? But does it? And then, but after that time, it didn't do it again. So does that just do it when you've only done one of the endings, or is that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was so glad. And then
I think it's possibly only if you, don't type the word in properly and then get the crap ending. I think that's because all throughout the game, that is the right thing to do, isn't it? You don't want to release this virus. Why would you? The whole part of you is not to release more viruses, and then it kind of like sucker punches you for doing that, like ha. But that's fine. I'm fine with that, because then you say
I almost feel like that bit wasn't necessary to give us two endings. Like it would have been fine if there was just an ending. I don't think the other ending was really worth it.
No, it wasn't.
No. If you think about it, because of the consequences of what happens, it's just.
But I guess
pointless.
That shock value of that first ending, though. So I'm just going to say it out loud. The shock ending where you suddenly see Leon get shot and die. There's that part of me that, because all throughout the game, you're kind of like, is Leon going to die? His infection is getting worse. It's very unpleasant. He's a shell of a man by the end. And I just thought, is Leon going to die? And then the thing happened. He gets shot, and I went, fuck, he deserved better than that. But that's, for me, when a good death, a bad death to a good character helps the story, because he always deserves better. They deserve to go out in a blaze of glory. Nope, just get shot in the face while he's on his knees. And you're like, yeah. And I thought, fuck, this is really sad. And then everything ends, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. I wonder
what did I do?
I do wonder if, I know they probably want to obviously keep legacy characters for future games, but I do wonder if, with the tone of the game, if Leon had died in the good ending, but in almost like saving grace, in that respect, whether that would have had quite a bit of a good tonal shift. I'm going to sound odd here. If Leon died in a good way, protecting that and protecting the thing, and the virus does go out the way that it did, I think that could have a massive, bigger thing on the ending than what we actually got. I know not everyone's going to agree with that, because they're not going to want Leon to die, but I think
I agree. Right. I think really what you could have done then is have two endings that have some good and bad elements. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, you either stop the virus and Leon dies, or you
Yeah.
save Leon but you release virus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then do it that way around, and then it's more of a moral choice of like, do you save Leon, or
Yeah,
do
to
you,
save-
do you get the cure? Which one do you want to choose? Whereas like at the moment, it's like, well, there's no choice. So like, there's a clearly good ending and there's a clearly
Yeah.
bad ending. Whereas I think it's better if it's more of there's a debate over which is the good ending or not.
I think Max nailed it. I think he should have died. Because guess what?
Mm.
You can then do a game on Chris Redfield. You can do a game. You just go to different characters. They've got
Yeah.
plenty of other stars,
Yeah.
characters that you can go through. Jill Valentine. Do you know what I mean? Like you just completely change it
There's-
up. There's Leon's. He's been in a few games. He's done his job. He done X, Y, and Z. And guess what? Either way, he dies. I think that's what should have happened.
That's his hero arc complete in a way,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. He's done it.
Yeah.
Done his
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
What about you,
There's
Dave?
also the reveal that he takes his glove off, and a lot of people talk about he's got a wedding ring on. So it's like, who's his?
Yeah.
Who's his spouse? Yeah.
Everyone's
married
saying
to
it might be Ada, isn't it? But we'll have to see.
Oh, wouldn't it be? That'd be great. Oh, Dave, what are your takes on the ending?
I thought the ending was absolutely brilliant, and I really like as you guys have touched upon who chose the non-releasing non-releasing of the virus, and Capcom basically said sort of, what the hell were you thinking? And kind of, would you like to try that again? You know? So yeah, having given it some thought, I instantly regret my decision. Can I have another crack at it? But
Yes, please.
that being said, I like that they included both of it. I thought it was a very, very satisfactory boss fight. I thought it was really, really good. And talking of boss fights, we haven't really touched upon the kind of a mercenary cool fight that you have with the
Oh,
hatchet.
yeah.
So that was also a really, really nice touch.
Yeah.
You couldn't just like Indiana Jones and like pull out all your guns and just blast him on the spot. You know, you had to actually mano a mano with the hatchet, and it was very, very satisfying to unbump that character off. But no, the ending, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I've played it about 5 times through already. And as and when, if we'll get a VR version, oh goodness, sign me up already. You know?
Yeah.
We haven't
Absolutely.
said about the motorbike scene either. We haven't said about that because I saw the motorbike, but I wasn't expecting you to ever get on it. I just thought, oh, yeah, I mean, it's look, there's a nice bike there. Didn't think you'd be like, let's rock and ride, like
It was. I thought it was a nice little serviceable. It was a bit like the sniper moment, wasn't it? It was just a nice interim thing to get you from one bit to the other. It was good fun. It was good fun.
Yeah, really good fun. So yeah, I can't add anything to either of it. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it would have been cool to see Leon die, just purely because he is a fan favorite. But you know, if anything, people shouldn't have plot armor forever. They should retire characters. Gives you a chance to because Grace is a cool character. She could evolve and sort of Luke Skywalker some shit and become the new Leon. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I'll be interested to see where they go with it for sure. I don't know where we're going to go with it now because we've kind of almost got a cure out. But
yeah, and what are the ramifications of said cure? It doesn't necessarily mean, and this is the nice satisfying thing about it as well, because normally at the end of a Resident Evil game, it's like you did it, you survived, that's it. Like your reward is you're not dead. Whereas this felt like, oh, you've survived and you've actually got hope for the future now, and you can actually finally put a stop to this thing that's been going on for so long.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So we'll just wrap it all up in a nice, neat bow. RE9 is fantastic. It's arguably my favorite Resident Evil game. Certainly my favorite modern Resident Evil game, and I'll class modern from PS3 onwards. Yeah, I can't say anything more positive about it. I will go back and play the DLC.
Yeah,
I will go back and play it in VR eventually when I get a PS2 VR, if they do a mod for that as well. You just can't go wrong with this game. You really can't. If you don't like horror, I can't help
Don't play it.
Yeah, I can't help you.
Probably not a good idea to play if you don't like horror, to be fair.
I will say the first playthrough is the only time it's genuinely scary. The second playthrough, it's still scary, but because you know some of the beats, it's less scary. And it's just like anything, isn't it? The more you become accustomed to it, by the time you're speed running the game, it's like, second nature. and that's, I think, the good thing with the Resident Evil games is they managed to balance the horror and the fun really quite well. And this one was a really good example of that. Bits of it were terrifying, bits of it were just, an absolute riot.
Really quick,
Mm.
what do you reckon the total sales numbers are, guys?
Oh, it's going to be huge.
End of April.
Oh god, because it already hit over 5 million, hasn't it? A while back. So I'm going to go. I'll go for 6.5.
I'm gonna go 7.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 6.
Triangle face.
So 6.8.
And the winner is Dave Newland New Music with 7 million.
Wow.
In 2 months, reported in late April 2026, it has sold 7 million units.
Quite right too. Quite right too. What a game. Yeah, just summaries from everybody else. Blunners, hit us with a summary.
Yeah, as a total package, this is a must play. I think Capcom have absolutely nailed this. The release window was perfect. Everything about the game, how it has 2 different play styles, that harpens back to 2 different eras, from Resident Evil 2 to Resident Evil 2 bosses. So there's some fantastic boss fights. There's some fantastic zombies in there. Completely different play styles if you want to play it like triangle face first person. If you want to play it like me, third person, it caters to everyone. This is a definite must buy. I want more people to play it, so I want that 7 million to get upwards of 10, because I just want more people to play this game, because that means we will get more in the future.
Tim.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say that hasn't been said throughout the stream, but yeah, it's a must buy. And I agree with everything Blunner said quite well actually there, that it's just the fact that you can play in different ways, and you're covering all the nostalgic bits as well of visiting, the Raccoon City Police Department. You've got new characters, you've got old characters, you've got real horror sections, you've got real action sequences. I think all the things throughout the show that we've kind of critiqued a little bit, there's a few bits which we've kind of poked a few holes in. None of those actually dampen the experience of the game overall. I think they're all forgivable things that are in there. So yeah, all thumbs up from me.
Nice. Dave?
Absolutely fantastic. Loved everything about it. Now that I've played it, and I really love the way that you can unlock it. As you said, you can get Freya's Needle, you can get the infinite rocket launcher. Be careful, kids. And of course, now I'd actually tempted to play it again just to mix up the perspectives. Play it with first person view and third person view. But fun fact: if you're on the PC, there is actually a mod on it where you can play with Leon only. So all of Grace's sections, you can also play that with Leon. So if you're on a PC, then that's the thing. But no, fantastic game, loved it. And where do they go from here? Excited to see.
Lovely. Mag?
As it stands, my favourite game of the year so far. Definitely a good contender for an excellent Resident Evil game. Not without its flaws in certain places, and does lean on the nostalgia a little too bit in parts, but it is welcome in other parts. I will say that. But generally, the pacing of it and everything is very well done, and I love the fact that it bounces from horror to action very well. Yeah, definitely get this game. It's just so well done. Whether it will be my game of the year, don't know, but it's certainly a contender. I can say that.
Exciting times. Right. So before we go to what the next Game Club game is, because I think it's a 50-50 split at the moment, we might have to take this to the Facebook group and see if people can alter that 50-50 split from there. Something I did see, just to really quickly sum this up, is I really enjoy watching Happy Console Gamer on YouTube. He always talks about things in a really happy, positive light. It's not just a clever name. And he has done a video recently about getting old in gaming, getting old as a gamer. He's a little bit older than us, but not by a mountain mile. And he talked about playing the OG RE2. He was in his very early 20s when that came out. He played through that. Leon Kennedy is obviously very young in that game. And in RE9, Leon is showing signs of age. He's got some grey hairs. He's a bit more battle worn. And it's like Leon's arc is almost feels like it's almost coming to an end. And it's he just drew this really interesting comparison between being a similar age to Leon and sort of growing with Leon as he's gotten older. And I thought that was a nice little touch for anyone that's certainly our age anyway, can sort of maybe relate a little bit more to Leon now as he enters his Clooney years, as I think lots of people like to say. Right, so we'll take the Game Club vote to Facebook. We won't announce it now. We'll announce it on the Facebook group, I think, because otherwise we're 50-50. We'll have to flip a coin, and I don't want to do that. So thank you to Dave for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure. It's wonderful to have you on the stream. Where can people find you online for all of your wonderful musical projects?
David Newland Music on YouTube.
It's fantastic. Make sure you head over there. He does all of our jingles, sometimes live whilst we are streaming. We'll come up with an idea for a jingle, and Dave will deliver. So yeah, head on over to his channel, give him a subscribe. And Mag, I don't think we really need to offer that, but where can people find you?
Oh, bless. Well, firstly, thank you for having me back on. It's been a pleasure to be on, guys. It's great to see you again. If you want to find me, I'm mainly on Twitch, Middle Aged Gamer Guy UK. Also now on TikTok. I do lives on TikTok, but I'm just MAGG on TikTok. And you pretty much will find me at any gaming event anywhere in the world, pretty much these days.
Beautiful. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you back on. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do it again at some point this year and make it work. And we will see you hopefully at the next game event, whatever that is.
Yeah, probably not. I would have thought.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
We shall start plugging knots very soon, I believe.
Yeah, same.
Excellent. So for anyone that is new to the channel, all the sort of caveats now that we've got to throw at you, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching. Like I say, if you are new, please consider hitting that subscribe button because that helps us out a lot. If you've enjoyed the video, please do also give it a little cheeky thumbs up because that also helps us quite a lot. But in the comments after the live, put in your favorite parts of the game, put in your least favorite parts of the game, and where does RE Requiem rank in your Resident Evil games in total? Is it in the top 10? Is it your favorite? Who knows? Let us know in the comments after the stream. Thank you again to Mag and Dave for joining us, and I've got me working mouse blunders, so I will be able to do the final button.
Just before you go, I don't think we got these shout outs in earlier. So we've got a new member for all of your base. So thank you. And also for Immortal. I'm not actually say that. Immortal Sojourn. Okay. Immortal. Thank you for gifting 5 subs. So sorry I missed that earlier. I've only just noticed that in the starred section.
Super.
So
well, that's very
reason I didn't call out earlier.
It's always very generous when people do that, and we never expect it. So thank you kindly. We will see you all on Monday for Total Evercade.
Yeah.
Look at that. I got it right.
I like that. You were a bit like, is it that one?
Spoiler. I picked up
Very amazing. Well, I shall look forward to a full review on Monday.
I'm not going to play all of them by Monday. Give me.
No, all by Monday. Let's go.
All of them by Monday. I'm going to review every game. Full review.
All by Monday.
Okay.
Right. Have a splendid weekend, everybody, and we will see you all on Monday. So good evening.